After Simon took me to sign up for classes, I made my way to the archives, eager to have a look around after all these years of dreaming. This time, when I entered the archives, there was a young gentleman sitting behind the desk, tapping a pen on a piece of paper that bore the marks of much rewriting and crossing out. As I approached, he scowled and scratched out another line. His face was built to scowl, his hands were soft and pale, his blinding white linen shirt and richly dyed blue vest reeked of money. The part of me that was not long removed from Tarbeen wanted to pick his pocket. He tapped his pen for another few moments before laying it down with a vastly irritated sigh. "Name," he said without looking up. "Kvothe." He flipped through the ledger, found a particular page and frowned. "You're not in the book." He glanced up briefly and scowled again before turning back to whatever verse he was labouring over. When I made no signs of leaving, he flicked his fingers as if shooing away a bug. "Feel free to piss off." "I've just—" Ambrose put down his pen again. "Listen," he said slowly as if explaining to a simpleton. "You're not in the book." He made an exaggerated gesture toward the ledger with both hands. "You don't get inside." He made another gesture to the inner doors. "The end." "I've just gone through admissions." He tossed up his hands, exasperated. "Then of course you're not in the book." I dug into a pocket for my admission slip. "Master Lauren gave me this himself." "I don't care if he carried you here piggyback," Ambrose said, pointedly redipping his pen. "Now quit wasting my time. I have things to do." "Wasting your time?" I demanded, my temper finally wearing thin. "Do you have any idea what I've gone through to get here?" Ambrose looked up at me, his expression growing suddenly amused. "Wait, let me guess," he said, laying his hands flat on the table and pushing himself to his feet. "You were always smarter than the other children back in Clodhump or whatever little one-whore town you're from. Your ability to read and count left the local villagers awestruck." I heard the outer door open and shut behind me, but Ambrose didn't pay it any attention as he walked around to lean against the front of the desk. "Your parents knew you were special, so they saved up for a couple of years, bought you a pair of shoes, and sewed the pig blanket into a shirt." He reached out to rub the fabric of my new clothes between his fingers. "It took months of walking, hundreds of miles, bumping along in the backs of mule carts, but in the end—" He made an expansive gesture with both hands. "Praise Telu and all his angels, here you are, all bright-eyed and full of dreams." I heard laughter and turned to see that 2 men and a young woman had come in during his tirade. "God's body, Ambrose, what's got you started?" "Goddamn first-termers!" Ambrose groused as he headed back around to sit behind the desk. "Come in here dressed like rag piles and act like they own the place." The 3 newcomers walked toward the doors marked stacks. I fought down a hot flush of embarrassment as they looked me up and down. "Are we still heading to the Aeolian tonight?" Ambrose nodded. "Of course. 6th bell." "Aren't you going to check to see if they're in the book?" I asked as the door closed behind them. Ambrose turned back to me, his smile bright, brittle, and by no means friendly. "Listen, I'm going to give you a little advice, for free. Back home, you were something special. Here, you're just another kid with a big mouth. So address me as Rayla. Go back to your bunk and thank whatever pagan god you pray to that we're not inventors. My father and I would chain you to a post like a rabid dog." He shrugged. "Or don't. Stay here. Make a scene. Start to cry. Better yet, take a swing at me." He smiled. "I'll give you a thrashing and get you thrown out on your ear." He picked up his pen and turned back to whatever he was writing. I left. You might think that this encounter left me disheartened. You might think I felt betrayed, my childhood dreams of the university cruelly shattered. Quite the contrary. It reassured me. I had been feeling rather out of my element until Ambrose let me know in his own special way that there wasn't much difference between the university and the streets of Tarbeen. No matter where you are, people are basically the same. Besides, anger can keep you warm at night, and wounded pride can spur a man to wondrous things.